Her swing shattered the window like she was aiming for a World Series home run. But instead of connecting with a baseball, she earned herself a red laser on her chest and the unmistakable metallic click of a rifle bolt being drawn back. I hadn't touched my old M24 since the last rotation in Afghanistan, but when a woman in a pink tracksuit kicks down your front door screaming about HOA jurisdiction while brandishing a bat, you don't reach for a broom, you reach for the scope. People like Denise Rollins think retired means soft. They think a rancher is some hay-chewing pushover. They don't realize some of us retired because we've already done enough damage. I didn't want trouble. I bought these 40 acres in Arizona for peace and distance. I just wanted to sip thick coffee, walk the fence line with my Belgian Malinois named Bravo, and let the sun rise without someone questioning my flagpole height. But peace is a fragile thing, especially when an HOA is involved. It started slow, the way these things do. A letter with a gold HOA seal showed up claiming I owed fines for non-compliant decorative structure and inappropriate fencing style. It ended with the ominous line, "Failure to comply will result in escalation." I nearly choked on my coffee. I wasn't even under HOA jurisdiction. County records confirmed that when I bought the land. I figured it was a clerical mistake. Then came a second letter. Then a third. And finally, photos, grainy shots taken from a distance of my flag, my solar panels, even me on the porch with binoculars. That's when the amusement ended. Someone had been watching me. So I returned the favor. I installed perimeter alarms and motion sensors, checked for tracks, and sure enough footprints along the southern fence line. Someone was walking my land. Someone obsessed. I could have gone to the sheriff, but I didn't. Not yet. I learned in the military, wait, let them reveal themselves. And that night, they did. I was working in the barn fiddling with an engine block while Bravo dozed nearby. The radio played a low stream of country music. Then Bravo's ears snapped up. I felt it too, something shifted. I killed the lights and moved to the shadows. Gravel crunched outside, then a loud crash as the barn's rear window exploded. Through the broken pane, I saw her Denise. Pink tracksuit. Giant sunglasses even though it was nighttime. Baseball bat in hand, she stomped through my barn like she owned it, yelling about HOA regulations and community standards. I raised my rifle. The red dot landed square on her chest. She froze. I stepped out. "You've got 3 seconds to explain why you broke into my property with a weapon." She shrieked, not like someone scared, more like a child denied a toy. She dropped the bat and launched into a rant about how my flagpole violated HOA trauma policy and how she had every right to correct the issue. I said nothing, just flipped the switch that locked the barn door behind her and activated the infrared camera grid. She didn't know it yet, but every second of her tantrum was being recorded in HD, streamed to my laptop, and backed up on multiple drives. I watched her stomp, kick, and scream. When she tried the door and realized she was trapped, I hit the intercom. "Denise, you broke into my home with a weapon. You're being recorded. The sheriff is en route. You can keep screaming or sit your butt down and wait." She threw her purse at a camera, missed, slipped on an oil patch, and landed hard. Bravo let out a single bark, mocking. 15 minutes later, Sheriff Markham arrived. Markham was used to bar brawls and drunken ATV accidents, not the circus. He watched the footage, looked at her now covered in oil and rage, and sighed like a man who just got stuck with a mountain of paperwork. He cuffed her gently. "We'll sort it out downtown. This ain't HOA jurisdiction. It's trespassing and maybe assault. You'll regret this," she screamed at me as he put her in the cruiser. I just smiled. "You already do." I thought it was over. But Denise wasn't retreating, she was regrouping. 3 days later, a drone buzzed over my pasture. Just a regular quadcopter, but it hovered like it had a mission. When it returned the next morning, swooping lower over my solar panels, I knew who was behind the controls. Denise. I didn't shoot it down. Not yet. I documented everything: video feeds, timestamps, motion logs. I even mounted a directional antenna to scan for signal sources. Later that week, I came back from town to find a bright orange notice zip-tied to my fence. Violation: unauthorized livestock, improper fencing, failure to cooperate with HOA. In the corner was a sticker, HOA Enforcement Unit. I tore it down and threw it in the fire pit. That night, I reviewed surveillance footage. 2 middle-aged men in matching polos snuck onto my land, posted the notice, and took a selfie in front of it. They moved like they were reenacting a tactical OP, except one of them wore knee braces and limped. By morning, 3 more citations arrived in my mailbox. One claimed my American flag didn't match the approved aesthetic color palette. Inside was a letter signed by Denise threatening $200 per day fines until I complied. She wanted me to lash out. So instead, I went silent. I called Eli, a friend from my army days, now a security consultant. Within 24 hours, we had silent alarms, thermal trail cams, low-light surveillance disguised as fence posts and bird feeders, and even a directional mic pointed straight at the path her goons used. Then came Linda. She knocked on my door carrying a peach cobbler and a thick binder. Thought you could use dessert in this. Turns out Linda was a former NSA analyst. She'd been collecting data for months: emails, audio logs, HOA chat transcripts. She had proof Denise forged notices, redirected board funds, even installed Wi-Fi cameras aimed at houses she didn't like. She'd just been waiting for someone with the spine to fight back. Together, we documented everything. It was worse than I imagined. Denise had hired a compliance squad paid through fake invoices. One file was labeled, "Coal Problem." "She's trying to provoke you," Linda said. "She wants you to snap. Then she plays victim." So I flipped the script. That weekend, I painted my barn fence wearing a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt. I planted flags across the property and installed a solar LED sign that read, "Private property, not HOA land." Denise drove by, jaw clenched. That night, her goons came again. They tried to rip down my sign, didn't see the infrared sensors. Floodlights triggered. Sirens blared. A recorded voice shouted, "You are trespassing." Law enforcement notified. One dropped his clipboard and fled into a cactus. The other tripped over a wire and face planted. The next morning, a handwritten note slid under my gate. "You'll regret this." She'd made it personal. What she didn't realize was that I was trained for exactly this kind of war. A few nights later, I spotted tire tracks near the south fence. My system had a 15-second camera glitch, impossible unless tampered with. The wiring had been cut. Professional job. She hired someone. I upgraded my defenses. Motion sensors with coded triggers. Glass marbles scattered across gravel, silent to most, but not to Bravo and me. At 3:14 a.m., one of those sensors tripped. 2 figures. One I recognized: Doug, a board member who failed the police academy. The other was bulkier, probably hired muscle. They weren't here to talk. I was already in position, watching from the shed. I didn't draw a weapon, I just triggered the speakers. Arabic commands, static, rapid radio chatter filled the Army old squad's training tapes. Doug froze. The other guy reached for his belt. Bravo lunged, not to attack, just to terrify. The man backed into a trough and screamed. Doug dropped the crowbar. "Drop it, Doug," I said, flashlight beam locking on his eyes. "You're on private land. Caught on camera. Try me." They ran. Tripped. Cursed. Bravo trotted back, tail wagging. The next morning, I went on offense. I contacted Grant, an investigator from my reserve days. Within hours, he found that Denise had paid a shady security firm disguised as landscapers using HOA funds. Fraud, plain and simple. I assembled a packet of evidence, photos, statements, financial trails, and mailed it to the sheriff, the county, and a local reporter known for digging into corruption. No signature. Just a note: she picked the wrong sniper. That Thursday, the article hit. HOA under fire for fraud, harassment, and private militia scheme. Denise's face was everywhere. 2 board members resigned. Denise doubled down. She showed up at my ranch with a man claiming to be a property appraiser. "We're just reviewing easement lines," she said with a smile. I said nothing. Bravo stood beside me, still as stone. The sheriff pulled up moments later. "Ma'am, you've been warned," Deputy Morales said. "Ongoing investigation. Leave now." "He's dangerous," she yelled. "He has weapons." "The only threat we've seen is you," Morales replied. The appraiser fled. Denise fumed and stomped away. But she didn't stop. Childish letters appeared under my gate. "We're watching. You'll pay." One had stick figures of me and Bravo surrounded by flames. I didn't flinch. I upgraded again. Hidden trail cams. Cloud storage. Face and plate capture. Then they set fire to my hay barn. Not an explosion, just a burning rag through a panel. I caught it early. Footage showed a man in a hoodie, neon green laces. Cross-checked the outer cam, Denise's SUV idling nearby. The arsonist? Her nephew. A basement-dwelling dropout with online posts about cleansing traders. Morales had enough. Charges were filed. Meanwhile, Linda found more. Denise was trying to forge HOA expansion documents to claim my ranch. She even filed paperwork faking developer history. The county launched an audit. Then came the state AG. Charges. Fraud, conspiracy, harassment, misuse of funds. Still, she had one more meltdown at an HOA meeting. Ranted for 15 minutes on Facebook Live, accusing me of training attack dogs and running a militant cell. The video went viral. Memes exploded. She was arrested that night. No yelling, no theatrics. Just a broken woman finally facing the consequences. The HOA expelled her. New elections. Public apology. One Sunday, a group of neighborhood kids left a wooden plaque at my gate. Thank you for protecting our community from your quiet friends. It hit harder than I expected. Denise was banned from HOA activity for life. Her nephew took a plea deal and left the state. Then the last twist. Denise's house sold. The buyer? A federal judge relocating from D. Tired of noise and HOA drama. She brought cinnamon rolls and a badge. I don't like nosy neighbors or power trips, she said. You'll do fine. I laughed. You'll fit right in. And that was the end of it. For now. But I kept the files. The cameras. The backups. Because people like Denise are never alone. There's always another. And when they come, they'll find me here calm, quiet, and ready. This is my land. My peace. And I will protect it.